What's going on, guys? You know how people elevate their field of play when it matters the most? You know, Mike Evans is going to give it a go, and just like you get that Willis Reed moment. This week has been difficult for this podcast, and the little podcast I could, I gave it that nickname day one. And I'm like, look, I will always keep that nickname no matter if we're big or small. We had so many reasons to not do a show. Donnie's exams, school, stuff was happening with him, and then Gov gets sick, Gov powers through. I only got 4 hours of sleep in the last 2 days. It's just been one of, but I'm like, you know what? We promised people consistency and transparency. So that's what you're getting tonight. You're getting consistency because we're going to show up. We're going to do a show. We're going to do it to the best of our ability. I can't guarantee, though, it's going to be our best show. What I can do is tell you that me and Donnie will break down the slate and give you our honest opinions. So, how we doing, Donnie? Any other recaps you want to mention before we?
All right. I'm pretty much good on recaps. So, do we just want to start off, shooting with our spread picks since Gov is not here, which we did not say that. Gov will not be attending tonight.
Yeah, Gov will not be attending.
Yeah, he's sick, so he needs a day off.
But now he's got to power through for the family. I think the whole family, you know how bugs spread. So I think the whole bug kind of hit the whole household now. And so, now he's a busy bee. So we're going to try to get through this the best we can without him. It's going to be difficult because he really does bring a lot to the show. But go ahead, Donnie. Give me the spread.
All right. Well, we did get Gov spread. We're only doing one spread pick this week because there's not many games. Gov did give us his spread pick.
Yeah, he did.
He had the Niners at -9. I'll defer the next pick to you, Logan, and I'll take the pick next week, the first pick next week.
I joked that I wasn't going to learn Brock Porty's name, and see, I did it again. See, I learned the first name, not the second name, on purpose, pun intended. Let's see if he actually wins that game, and then I'll learn how to say his last name. Giannis Antetokounmpo for basketball. I knew he would be great right away, Donnie. I started saying that guy's name the moment I saw him. But I'm not a believer in Brock, so good luck to Gov there. I don't like it. You know what? No, we can't do that. I don't know what to say, man. I just want good games. Honestly, I don't have a favorite one way or the other. I actually think if you talk upset though, like if I'm just a gambler trying to make the most advantageous bet out there, I actually think it's the Ravens against the Bengals.
You want the Ravens at +8.5?
Yep.
Okay. There actually is a stat that I saw. It is the team that covers the spread 84% of the time wildcard weekend actually is the winner of the game. Which is really strange.
Yeah.
But I guess a lot of the times the favorites win. So
the reason I like it though is because Cincinnati probably has the worst offensive line of all the playoff teams, right? They attack you through.
Buccaneers do.
Maybe because of injury, you're right. But even going into the season stock inventory, they weren't a good offensive line. They haven't really improved it. That's been their weakness.
They've improved a little bit. They're definitely not bottom of the barrel type team that they were in last year altogether. They're probably a middle of the pack offensive line.
Oh, wait a minute. I'll stick with the Ravens, but I forgot. I got to go against the Vikings. So that's the obvious one. You can keep me down for the show because I can make the Ravens. But, see, I told you we were playing sick today, Donnie. I don't know what came over me the Giants are going to beat the Vikings.
Yeah, that's what I actually was going to. That was my number one pick. My second pick was the Bengals, actually. So, yeah, I'll take Giants at +3. I think the Giants are the better team. Well, maybe not the better team, but they're the better playing team by far.
Yeah. I think they're the better coach team, too.
Better coaching, yeah. Much more discipline. There also, I want to say this, there's going to be no lock of the week as there's not many games. There doesn't seem like much of a point to be, we already took 3 games off the slate. That we're kind of picking, okay, what do we think is going to happen in a game that we don't really believe in? And I feel like that's disingenuous to what the point of this is.
Yeah. Now, we can transition to a lineup builder, Johnny, because I think a lot of these players will correlate. But I have to get some of your takes on this. Like, I understand that Jackson not playing affects the Ravens, right? But Mark Andrews coming back for the Ravens affects them in a positive too. Like, there are things to like about the Ravens. Like, they have a really good coaching staff. Their coaching staff held out their players because of this matchup. Like, they do things like that. They're very forward thinking. So I'm not saying like, oh, they're going to go out and stop the Bengals, but to have a Super Bowl level, Super Bowl caliber, Super Bowl intelligence and in the locker room. Because like, I think you could get lucky, and go to the Super Bowl, or you could be a coordinator. Jim Harbaugh's identity is all over that team, and he's been doing Super Bowl. I like that because even as much as we like, to make the Seven Dwarfs reference with Daboll and like his energy, and I think it was week 1, he went for 2 to win the game, and not kick a field goal. They would have lost if they didn't get it. Like, that kind of set the tone. Like, he's a tone setter. I get it. Harbaugh has actually done it though, and I get he's undermanned, but like, they brought Roquan Smith in for a reason. They believe in that defense. That they're like a sexier version of the Titans. So, Donnie, with that being said, is there any other takeaways you want to make before we build this lineup and we totally like disembowel our actual like guttural kind of feel because we're like, oh, salaries or correlations? Is there any other like big takeaways? I just think the Ravens game is going to be very interesting, and I think it's going to sneak up on people.
I don't think I'm completely on the opposite of that game. I think it's kind of a bad look that Lamar Jackson's not playing again. Even if he is hurt, you'd expect your franchise quarterback who's asking for all this guaranteed money to come out and play. But maybe he would be playing if he had his money guaranteed now.
It basically sounds like he's playing hardball with them and being like, well, I proved it in the regular season. I'm good enough. I proved it throughout my career. I'm good enough. And now when the chips are pushed in the middle and we have a chance to actually do something big here, you want me to saddle up. But I've been saddling up for a long time. And so I'm on Lamar Jackson's side here on this one. Speaking of sides,
they should have him paid by now. This is ridiculous that he's not paid.
And the fact that we want to spend it, this is the playoff. The player's got to suit up through injury. He's got to suit up. No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
But if he would be playing if he had his guaranteed money. I don't have questions about that.
I think so.
And it's very disgusting that Roquan Smith gets $20 million a year, and he can't get his money.
Well, I mean, I like Roquan, but I don't love him. I've always said that about him. Like,
he is not the $20 million a year that he's getting paid.
He's the friend you want to hang out with on Saturday night. He's not the friend you want to live with. Like, that's kind of the analogy I got. Like, he's the guy you want around occasionally for a good time, but not the guy you want in the trenches of life when you got to clean the bathroom and you got to do more of the dirty tasks. Speaking of tasks, let's get on to tasking a lineup here. We chose a lot of, platform fantasy outlets are choosing one or the other. We can talk about all the games this way, I think this is like the most fun and the biggest way to get different. Obviously, I'm playing all of them. I told you I already took out a decent amount of profit from the season from all the prop bets and stuff. So the rest of this is just fun money. So like, let's have some fun. But I'm playing all of them because I do think like for some reason I just typically do well in the playoffs. I think it's when games matter most. I'm really good at identifying like typical starters, and so I already like that stars and scrubs approach anyways. But there's no real scrubs when you get to the playoffs, Donnie. So
Right.
it lends itself well for my style of play. Like play the cheap guy, but no one's really bad on this slate per se.
Yeah. I mean, I do have a quarterback in mind that I want to play. Do we want to do a draft style, or do we want to just do our normal lineup builder?
I was gonna throw this out tonight. Let's do it in almost a reverse draft. Players you don't want to take.
Okay. Player I
That
do
way,
not want to take.
yeah, you probably have an idea, Donnie, but that way I flipped it on you at the last second, and so now it's like we're gonna get almost a true authentic. Like I don't like this guy.
Well, Kirk Cousins I don't like.
Okay, we won't play him. My next pick for player, we're just going to go through the quarterbacks right now. My next quarterback I wouldn't play would be Josh Allen.
Yeah, I also would think to avoid him this week. I don't know. He's been so turnover prone. I get there's a lot of other players who have a high upside, like a Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence. Doesn't make much sense to go and get Josh Allen at that price when there's not many scrubs playing at this point.
It doesn't. Well, I think if you're going to do it, you have to correlate it in a weird way. And we're not really Gabe Davisons. We've always been opposite on the run games between Cook and Singletary. We've never been able to get that right as a unit. The weeks that Donnie likes Devin Singletary, me and Gov were like Cook, and we couldn't agree. So like, it just doesn't feel right for our process play to go to it now. In fact, the one time we did play him, I think he had his worst game of the season. So maybe Bills Mafia will send us some PayPal if we don't play him, because we just seem to be the kiss of death for that guy.
Okay. So is this where we go to our favorite quarterback now, or how's this
going? Yeah, go to your favorite quarterback. Let's see. So let's do that. Let's give our worst picks, and then we'll give our best picks and see if we can agree.
Daniel Jones. I think he has the rushing upside of a Josh Allen. I think he's probably going to win the game. And there's not many targets on that team. He's going to have to make plays if they win that game.
If I give you Jones, because I would have said Dak Prescott, but if I would have said Prescott or Trevor Lawrence, so if I give you Jones, can I choose the stacking partner?
That's fine by me.
Okay. Because I wouldn't win with Jones, but if I'm going to, because I think a lot of people will go with Jones for their cheap guy. Full disclosure, I also like Huntley. I'm playing a lot of Huntley personally. This is just a way to get names out there because we're trying to be more content. I'm playing a ton of Huntley. I just think the price it allows me to get all the other weapons, and in a point per reception league, you want versatility. You want like Christian McCaffrey. Now, Daniel Jones is really, really cheap though. Donnie, if I'm going to do the correlation with the player of the Giants, I'm going to let you pick the Viking you want to bring it back with. Any Viking at all.
Well,
I'm assuming we almost got to bring it back being this late.
Yeah. I want TJ Hawkinson. I don't trust the linebacker core of the Giants that much. The secondary is the better part of the defense, and they're going to want to double Justin Jefferson. Maybe that leaves Thielen open. I think they're going to be so focused on slowing down Jefferson that Hawkinson can take in a lot of these targets. Maybe it's the other way around and they let Jefferson have 150 yards and Hawkinson gets locked down the middle. But I feel like one of those two will have to make some plays this game.
Donnie, you teed me up perfectly. I'm playing Hawkinson in 100% of my lineups because if he's not my tight end, he's my flex. At 5,100, smaller slate, more condensed, targets matter. When things matter most, quarterbacks usually go to their safety valve. I don't care how old football's been, how long it's going to last, if it outlasts me. I just think quarterbacks are always going to look over the middle. That's typically where tight ends are. I have an interesting stat about T.J. Hawkinson. Did you know Hawkinson, if he can get 32 fantasy points, will be the first player to play a team twice and lead the slate against that team. The team that he blew up against, I'm sorry, he didn't have 32, he had 42. He had 42 points. It was against the Giants. It'll be I think it might be the first or second time a player has played the same team twice that wasn't in the division. So it's pretty historic, especially if he can repeat the performance and the potential is just there, Donnie. You probably didn't even know that was a thing, but yeah, the 42-point T.J. Hawkinson game was against the Giants.
I did not know that was the case. I just didn't like the linebacker core.
I liked his price this week, and then I'm like, wait a minute. The Giants game was the game where he went off, and then I heard a podcast where they reaffirmed it. So let me just tell you, we got to get let's just do a really good option here that I don't think a lot of people are going to do because he was hurt earlier, and I just think it's underrated. We can decide on Barkley later. I think going to Daniel Bellinger here is smart. He had an eye injury.
Yeah.
But he played really, and then we can do whatever we want with the rest of this lineup. Tight ends are
last game 3 targets as well.
Yeah, man, because we got T.J. Hawkinson, probably the best value tight end, and there's Kittle there, there's Andrews, there's Ingram. If you wanted to go Ingram, I could see, but he's playing more like a wide receiver. So then you got to make that wide receiver case. You're playing more the outside boundary. He's going to score a touchdown. And I think if you think all those things, why don't just play Daniel Bellinger at way lesser ownership? I think this will be sneaky in terms of ownership play.
It's a different way to get Daniel Jones a stack. No, I wouldn't double stack Daniel Jones because he has too much rushing upside. But
yeah, so we wouldn't play Barkley here.
No.
See, I did the opposite on my other lineups. So that's why I wanted to do the Bellinger. I wanted to choose a pass catcher because I'm playing 100% Barkley, but I'm fading Jones. So that's why I'm like, if I give Donnie his Danny Dimes, and Donnie, I almost made a mistake. My autocorrect makes that mistake all the time when I text Donnie. I do not, as a person. I just want to make that clear on the record. Talking about running through different aggregations of names, what running back don't you want this week? I'll phrase it to you that one. Go back to that.
I'm going to go with. I'm going to go ahead and say I do not want Kenneth Walker because I feel like San Francisco is going to get out to a lead and they're going to get away from the run game.
Yep.
That's the logic. I get Kenneth Walker's no, let me stop. Their second best offensive player. I forgot about DK. But teams, especially, I know Pete Carroll's going to want to run it.
Well, you could argue that
Pete Carroll's definitely going to want it.
But you could argue that Lockett is better than Walker. I mean, I would tell you Walker is
You
better.
could.
You could argue.
I would say Walker's better.
Yeah. Donnie, I do not want to play Delvin Cook.
I'm with you on that as well. That was relatively easy for us. Now,
here's why, though, because I think Justin Jefferson burned so many people, but people are going to want that game because I think Jones will be high owned at quarterback, which is fine because quarterback kind of all quarterbacks are going to get owned this week, right? And then it's just how do you get different with your stacks? And I feel like a lot of people will be like, well, Cook's safer because, because think about fantasy football that you played down season one, right? If you had Justin Jefferson, you were like flying you were flying full staff all season. And then that quickly died out really quickly. So you might be a little bit bitter, especially if there was a lot of money in your season long leagues on the line. So I'm not even saying we got to play Jefferson, but I don't want to play Cook because I think that's the direct leverage.
Well, I want to defer running back to you because I really want a receiver.
Okay.
It's not a part of any of the games we've talked about yet.
Why don't I play who I think is the best pass catching and receiver? We'll get Christian McCaffrey in there. We'll have the money.
I mean, it makes sense. We're fading Kenneth Walker. Christian McCaffrey, he's going to get the targets. He had last week off, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
did he play a little bit?
He didn't play all the game, though.
Okay.
Well, I like that. Yeah. That like Elijah Mitchell's back, and people will get scared off of Christian McCaffrey because I think even
it's the playoffs. You put your best players on the field.
Yeah, and I think him and Debo and Kittle have only played like maybe 2 games together. It's something extraordinarily low. We might just see an offensive explosion out of this game.
Man, how scary is a backfield that could have Debo slide back there in motion and have Christian McCaffrey with him?
Right.
You could do anything out of it.
I view that as a good thing. Like, I don't know where you rely on the Cowboys.
I think it's a very big positive on the McCaffrey thing and Debo thing.
Yeah. I just think, like, more weapons. Like, honestly, I never said this because I'm a DraftKings guy mostly, so it just, like, never fits with what we want sometimes. I think Jamal Williams, signing him was the smartest health decision for DeAndre Swift you could make. Like, some of these things are not advantageous to fantasy, but they're smart. Otherwise, you get out tags like Raheem Mostert. So, I mean, that's never good going into the playoffs. Did anyone jump out to you that you want to play for sure? I know you mentioned wide receiver.
Chris Godwin. I know Tampa Bay looks a little stagnant a lot of the times. What?
I never get that guy right. Like, he's a good player, but every time I play him, he plays bad, so I faded him in all my lineups. But this is our lineup. You picked him on, unsolicited, so maybe you're right here. Tell me why.
Well, Brady is going to want to target his favorite weapon. It's the playoffs. He's going to want to go where he's comfortable, especially against a Dallas pass rush that's going to be in his face against his not great offensive line. If Ryan Jensen is playing, it will look a little better. Maybe it might even look worse because we don't know if that injury is really healed. But I've seen Brady do it 1,000 times. If he has pressure in his face, Gronk, Edelman on third down. It happens every time. I don't think Mike Evans is going to be almost any bit of a factor here for them. It's going to go through Godwin. It's going to go through Leonard Fournette. It's going to go through White, I think. I forget the other running back's name. I don't think there's going to be much of the deep things to Mike Evans and like we saw a couple weeks ago.
Can we just play Leonard Fournette now?
I'm fine with that, yeah.
Wait till you see his price down and you're going to say, whoa.
Was he on the injury list? I forget.
No, that's what's crazy. He's cheaper than Jeff Wilson at the moment.
Oh, that's disgusting.
I told you. Okay, so
Yeah.
do you want my? Okay, this guy, I feel like Mike Williams is out for the Chargers.
Yes, I do.
So we could go Palmer or Carter and just get crazy with the rest of it. I think Keenan Allen, you got to consider playing him at 7,000 with
Oh,
Mike
I
Williams.
agree. It's him or Eckler, I think.
Maybe
One of the
both.
two, I think you need to play. Yeah, you could argue just make a full Charger stack, honestly.
Yeah, you could.
Can we? I mean, I know he hasn't played in a while. Can we get Debo or Ayuk in there? One of the two. Like, I would lean Debo just because he's cheaper and he has the most talent. They're gonna get him the ball, in my opinion, unless it's a complete blowout and he just comes out of the game. I saw at 5,700. That's disgusting.
Yeah,
he's their second best weapon.
Well, I like
yeah,
to say
him above Kittle.
Over Kittle because Kittle's been doing it and Samuel's been out. So if we plug in Samuel, Kittle's usage might go down, but Samuel's might go up, and then bam, we got all at low ownership. I don't know
can we go to defense now?
Man, I built so many lines to my phone. I don't know why the computer always does that because on the mobile it transitions smoothly.
What do you feel like for defense?
I don't think it matters. Here's what I say. I don't think it matters in terms of the totality of the defense we choose here, Donnie. What I think matters is what game do you think is going to get circus-like scoring that could lead to a lot of sacks?
Because I'll say this. Dallas has been very turnover prone. A lot of it has not been Dak Prescott's fault, and I just want to say that.
Yeah.
I think a lot people have been making fun of Dak Prescott. Oh, so many picks, leads picks in NFL, and all that. I think in the past couple of weeks we've seen him lose a couple games. That pick six that lost in overtime went right through his receiver's hands. He had like 3 of those go right through his receiver's hands. 4 of them go right through his receiver's hands. Yeah. And I don't trust Dallas to clean it up, especially with McCarthy.
We're not playing any Dallas guys either, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
And then we could technically move up from Bellinger if you wanted to.
Yeah, we could. We could. Let's see what we can get. I know I would love to play Julio with Mike Evans limited. I would love it, but we would need
I did see
drop the injury report. Like, this is playoff time.
I would lean more towards a Russell Gage like guy. We did speak about Russell Gage. They did say they want to get him more opportunity. Yeah.
See, but the problem is we can't.
But he's 3,800. He's 3,800. Yeah.
We can't because that's.
If I was gonna, yeah. I would prefer Marvin Jones in that scenario. If I'm picking between Julio and Marvin Jones, I think I'm going with the guy who's just less washed.
What I'd recommend, though, if we were going to do it, is get off of Hawkinson, which I don't think we'd want to do. Put in Bellinger so we have the tight end correlation with our quarterback. Because that's what I was talking about Jones was. Because we have Daniel Jones. So what would this look like? Just as a thought exercise. I'm not even saying we should do this. Then we have 5,500.
I'm fine with that, to be honest. What does 5,500 get us at? Avoid Buffalo running backs.
That would or Palmer potentially.
We have Allen. What if we put Palmer in and take Keenan out?
Okay.
So take Keenan out, put Palmer in. Well, you wanted Palmer and wide receivers.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, that's because you want to see. See, you got to remember, Mostert is out, so Wilson's going to get carries, but it's against Buffalo, and Buffalo's been pretty good.
That's a pretty good price point at right now.
It's honestly
7K.
Allen. We could just double it up.
It might just be.
It really comes down to
anything...
who's going to score more. Well, we could get up to Diggs and get down on the defense. Just punt the defense.
I just hate. I personally hate punting defenses. That's just me. I don't like doing it. I know there could be a lot of value in it.
If we did it, though, we could get to guys like Stephon Diggs or CeeDee Lamb.
Well, what if we went down from McCaffrey and went to Eckler and then played a Diggs?
Interesting. Okay.
It's the same type of play. Like, you know Eckler's getting targets, and he's going to get the rushing attempts as well.
Yeah, okay. Let me see about this. Let me go Eckler here. We take out Palmer, right? Can we see if I did this, I think if I did this, I still want to try to play Allen though. I think without Mike Williams, Allen's the play. That would leave us 61.
Oh, I wish that put us at enough spots at enough money to play. Christian Kirk, perfect bring back to the Chargers guys.
It is. We got DK too. I like Kirk in this lineup because he's gotten the targets. I haven't liked him all season, but he's proved me wrong. I wouldn't mind if we lost money on him. If you tuck the name off the back of the jersey, he fits exactly what we want. He's Stephon Diggs without the name tag down.
I've been a fan of Kirk. I thought he was overpaid. He has proven his worth for that. Like, maybe it's still a little bit of an overpay for the production, but he has changed the way that offense runs. No matter how you look at it, the offense looks very good with him in it.
I like this because I think a lot of people. Okay, so here's what we'll do really quickly before we wrap up. I don't even know where we're at.
32.
I told you I needed 40 minutes. I am pretty much ready to go. But I'm just going to give you my quick analysis of where I think people are going to make mistakes at each position. Okay, you ready? They're going to either say, I don't want to pay up for Josh Allen. He's too expensive. Let me get Joe Burrow. And it's like, okay, you save $1,000, but what do you do with that $1,000? Or they're going to say,
then you have to play Chase, who's more expensive than Diggs in that situation.
Right, exactly. So I just want you guys to know it's about building blocks because you could play Allen and Diggs or Allen and Gabe Davis way down here in this range to save some time. Just trust me, he's down here in this range. For a lot cheaper than you could play T. Higgins and Chase, even if you quote unquote think you're saving money with Joe Burrow. Perfect point. That's exactly my point, Donnie. Or they're going to get cute. They're going to say, Lamar Jackson's out. And, Tua is out. And so I'm going to play the quarterbacks. I'm playing one of them. But it's because of the price before Jackson was out, I built some really good Jackson stacks. I'm a big believer in Andrews. So I'm not playing Huntley just based on this, injury news. He's like a fun Jalen Hurts type. Like, I literally think that's like a good value.
If you look at our, just with the lineup we built, every one of these guys has a name except Daniel Bellinger. Like, all of these guys have been impact players in the NFL.
Yeah.
Maybe not Daniel Jones. But I would say Daniel Jones has been this year.
Well, that's a good point. But he came in with a big pedigree. Remember, he got overdrafted in terms of the casual.
He got booed, if I'm not mistaken.
What's that?
Didn't he get booed when he got picked?
He did because the casual fans didn't know him. But all the draft experts that actually went to what did he play in Duke? And so the Carolina region, they went there and I was like, this guy can play. This guy is Eli Manning. And similar to Eli Manning, he just never got the attention, but he did the job. I think Daniel Jones is a lot better than most people think. And Donnie's known me long enough to know when we used to play Madden, I used to think he was one of the more underrated quarterbacks. Like I always said, if he got with the right team, he could be something. Like, now, I didn't think he'd be this. I'll give you another name, and I'll clip it if I'm right, just to prove, like, this is the guy I believe in. Derek Carr is that guy next year, I think.
I'm worried if Derek Carr goes to the Saints. I'm very scared because that coaching staff I don't believe is good enough. Then they're going to fire Dennis Allen next year when they don't succeed.
Yep.
And then he's going to have to learn another system for like the seventh different head coach he's had in his career.
Fair enough.
So that's where I worry, but I believe in Derek Carr as a player.
We're on pace here, though. So I want to mention this. The one thing I think we made a mistake with is with Jeff Wilson.
I think he's going to be so chalky. If he fails, that's going to be huge.
Well, that's it. I do think Donnie's right. You are eating a massive amount of Tums for that heartache.
If this game turns into a blowout and they get away from the run game,
yeah. If he fails, you're in trouble because he's going to be chalky. But he's too cheap based on the value. That was the only point. But I think Christian Kirk, around the same price, is a way better value. PMR always goes on under owned, Donnie. People want to play the early games. I'm telling you, Christian Kirk and those guys, I know I'll make sure we get this right. We'll put the latest guys in. But like this lineup is loaded with PMR because we got a lot of Tampa and a lot of Jacksonville. But I think Jacksonville's our earliest game, because we faded the early Sunday and early Saturday, and then we played the two. Well, we mostly faded.
We have Debo. Debo's our earliest player.
Oh, that's right, because we faded the Ravens. See, I'm getting confused because in my personal life, I liked a lot of this game, but Donnie did not. So it's interesting.
Well, I like that game. Like I like the receivers in that game.
Yeah, you like it from a
I like Andrews. I like Chase. I like Higgins. I like those type of guys to go off. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if I trust Burrow to have a huge game because they might get ahead early. I don't trust Huntley to get his guys the ball consistently. So that's where I'm out on that game.
Can I just get on the record so that way it doesn't look like I'm goating once I wrote Tyreek Hill. That's not fast. T.Y. Hilton is going to have a big game. He will. I
think he can get like 5 targets this game. Now, if he hauls them in, that's a completely different story.
I also like Daniel Bellinger, who I hadn't played in any lineup. So the fact that I was able to play him in this one, like if we didn't play Bellinger, I would have really been pushing on T.Y. Hilton. I would have been pushing on Julio Jones, which both Gov and Donnie do not like that I have an affinity for that man. Is there anyone that you think, like, I know you don't know pricing, but like a guy that you think could just go off? Another guy is Carter, if you guys want value. With Williams being out, it's either Palmer or Carter, and you can save almost $2K by going with Carter. He's basically minimum.
I really don't think there's a lot of cheap guys that could go off. I think the guys that really we're missing that I really think will have big games this week is Christian McCaffrey, who's the highest priced running back, and Jamar Chase, who's second highest priced receiver, and he's playing Baltimore, so this game could be a blowout. So what did we get right based on tonight? This will be interesting because I'll clip this and we can go back and listen to it. And Gov can break it down and give us his quote of opinion, basically, next time we convene. What's the one thing I'll give you mine, but what's the one thing about this lineup that you love, but it scares you to death? Where you're like, I love the potential of this, but something tells me this might be a bad move. There is so much just on paper name value, I feel like. And maybe that's looking too much into the name, but I feel like playoff times, those big name players come out to play very well. And Deebo Samuel scares me a little bit because he's not played that much, but he's the second best playmaker on that team.
Funny
So
enough, Debo doesn't scare me.
at that price, he doesn't really, because if he snowflakes, other
bet-
guys can go off.
I bet you don't know who scares me in this lineup. Maybe you do.
I would assume it's going to be. I'm gonna say Eckler.
No, it's Chris Godwin.
And,
And
I feel like that's the safest play out of all of them, to be honest.
I know you did, but Mike Evans is hurt. Tom Brady spreads the ball around. That offense hasn't been good, but
I guarantee Godwin gets 11 targets this game.
That's like the name value that could be great, but could also be like, oh, everyone, like they're in the playoffs. We made this point in our review show. They're in the playoffs, so throw the records out the window. I don't know if I can throw the record out the window. I think it carries some weight. It's a weighted ball. I'll throw the damn thing out the window, but it's going to break some glass, Donnie. The team did not live up to expectations. So the team might do okay, but they're not a good team still. Just want to throw that out there.
I agree they're not a good team. But I expect Chris Godwin to get 11 targets this week. And
All right.
I would be shocked if it's below 10.
No, quiet down, Donnie. We said 40 minutes. It's 41. We have to hold true to it now. We'll have to get out of here now, guys. Have a good one. I appreciate the viewership. We wanted to keep this condensed. For one reason or the other, we weren't feeling the greatest this week. But also, it's a good barometer to see if you guys like these smaller shows. So, good night. Thanks for joining us, Donnie. Any last words? All sincerity. Go ahead. Have the last word, buddy.
Have a good night, everybody. Playoff weekend. Enjoy football. Don't bet too much.
Bet on yourself. Like, whatever makes you happy, bet on that. Like,
unless it's dangerous.
Say what?
Unless it's a dangerous amount.
Well, I mean, then you're probably advantageous to be a dangerous person. What I'm saying is enjoy your life. Spend it with your friends, your family, in front of the TV, in front of a sports book, whatever you do that's like in a healthy parameter, do that more, because this is the time of year where they think like, oh, winter's over, or we're in the transitional point, so I got to be happy now. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's still gonna not make us happy. So like when football comes around, or sports that you enjoy, or activities, you got to really enjoy them. And Donnie mentioned earlier, the playoffs is going to go quick. I mean, we're getting down there now. So although we have some summer football leagues, let's enjoy the last bit of football we have and enjoy that squeeze.
Oh yeah, no, this last one is a month or so. This is my favorite time of the year. I mean,
it's really exciting because you got basketball and it's starting to mean something. Like after Christmas, basketball ramps up.
MVP races start to look nice.
Yeah. We're gonna get into all that. Trust me, we're not a football-only show. We're gonna spread our wings in a couple weeks, but let the birds heal first. We got to get Gov back in here, and we got to keep this show short. So, good night, guys. Have a good one.
Night.